The description of the rally before it ever took place was laid down by Hillary Clinton. That what we were seeing was something we hadn't seen since 1939. The rally at Madison Square Garden would be that of Nazis. And that is exactly what was told to the public even before kickoff at the Garden. Here is MSNBC teeing it up. You ready? MAGA equals Nazi.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the Garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct.
That is MSNBC. But it isn't just MSNBC. Take a look at some of these messages, these posts by various people about what you should know in their minds, what you should know about what took place at Madison Square Garden. This is Mary L. Trump, who's a big anti-Donald Trump person. She posted, "So we're really doing this again. Eyes wide open with side-by-side pictures of 1939 and 2024. Here is D.L. Hughley, comedian, openly on the left, Democrat. D.L. Hughley said, they played this song before Byron Donald went on stage at the Nazi rally at MSG. Saw Byron Donald yesterday, part of the Friends of the Will Kane Show Fantasy Football League. I'm going to be honest with you, one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. Not being a politician has a real high bar to set on being one of your favorites, but I actually think, and I told the congressman this, I think you got the whole package, man. Like, I really do. It's like, you've got the personality, you've got the speaking skills, you've got the ability to debate, you've got the right policies, you've got the right philosophical bearing. I'm really impressed with Byron Donalds. It was really cool to see him yesterday, James, right? I mean, and then on top of all that, he's just a dude. Like, yeah. He's a dude.
I mean, he's sitting in a room with the most every important figure in his party, and he takes 10 minutes to talk about the Yankees and growing up and Cowboys.
Whatever.
With a 24-year-old dude who has very little place actually being there.
Did you have fun, James?
Yeah, a little bit.
You guys want me to tell you a couple of young establishment James stories real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so here's two of my favorites. James is a certified ignorant clapper. He does not know when to clap. I'm telling you.
No, I'm in too deep.
No, James. I analyzed it. I gave you time.
That.
I did comment, so I know you might be prepared for a rebuttal on this, but I didn't lay out my argument for you yesterday. So you sat right next to me, at least for part of this, and he claps, right? And as the crowd does. But he claps in, like if the crowd claps on 3, he claps on 1. He's on a different beat than everybody else. Yeah, you think it's because you're deeper, like because you hear the music better? No, I'm going to give you an example. I think it was during RFK. I don't know who it was speaking, but they're like characterizing the other side, right? They're like, the other side thinks this, and it'll be some absurd characterization of a belief on the right. So let's just come up with one. He's like, let's say RFK said, the other side says censorship is good for democracy. And like one person now goes, and it's James. I'm like, why are you clapping, dude? Like, it sounds like you like censorship is good for democracy.
RFK is like, thank you.
He's like, no, man, it's like a good point about the other side. I'm like, have you noticed no one else is clapping? Like, you're the only dude clapping.
Got to stand out. Got to be memorable.
You were clapping for him embodying other people's arguments that you don't agree with.
Yeah, I'm happy that he's taking the fight to them.
And you knew you were off because you'd like give it it went like this, and then kind of look around and stop, you know. And then your clapping is.
You're just not a follower.
I think you should be a follower on clapping.
Yeah.
Don't be a leader.
All right.
Like you notice when you're sitting in the crowd and there's the guy that starts the clapping, and the guy that starts the standing, or the guy that starts the "Go Trump." You don't want to be that guy.
No.
Don't just follow that guy. But that guy usually is. You ever seen the batting average on that guy? It's a bad batting average.
Speaking of comedy, too, like the guy at a comedy show that like laughs at that one weird part of the joke, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, there, that guy gets it."
But you know the guy that wants to lead the clap or the
Yeah.
wave,
I wasn't that far.
or stand up.
That far.
He's a low percentage batter. Like he doesn't hit Hall of Fame numbers. He's probably batting 200. We had two of them sitting in front of us, James.
Below Mendoza line,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
the guys sitting in front of us they wanted to lead everything. And so I noticed like they stood, and that means I had to stand in order to continue to see. But the best part was when they took smoke breaks. Oh, I was so appreciative of that smoke break because they came back reeking of cigarettes, but at least I could see a clear view of where I was going.
Yeah.
But they literally stood and only got everybody else to stand and join their clapping around them 20% of the time. So I believe in you, James. You're capable of that kind of thick skin. You could bat low and still keep anteing up. Here's another James story. So for some reason, he comes in and out. I don't know if he's on ADD drugs, and I don't know if James is on cocaine or what he's doing, but he can't sit still. And so he's in and out. He's in and out. And I think he got self-conscious
Welcome to my life.
about asking people down the row if he could get out again. So he goes out finally, and sitting behind me is a row, I bet 20 New York Fire Department, right? All behind me. All in boom, starched blues. They look like $1 million, right? So James, I guess now he's self-conscious that he's gone in and out of our row too many times. He decides, okay, instead what I'll do is I'll go down the row behind Will. It was full of firemen, and I'll come over.
Well, I thought the seats could have been moved. They were fold them up chairs, so I was like, I'll just move the chair.
It's a move you would pull at a baseball stadium where the seats are angled and elevated, and you can easily step down into another row.
I thought you could have just moved the chair.
But this was
The chairs were
flat,
and they were stuck to the ground.
and they're stuck to the ground, and they're affixed to each other.
Found that out after.
So he commits to this row. Now he's got like, I'd say 7 or 8 of the firefighters to get up and let him by. And I'm like, what are you going to do? I looked at him and go, what are you going to do? And I go, are you about to like hop a row or stride a row? And he
I
goes,
thought
yeah.
you encouraged it.
And my man just absolutely high centers himself on the backs of the chairs. He steps over. He can't get
No.
over it.
No,
you know,
that's not true.
James, don't act like there wasn't contact.
Slow and smooth.
You were not only was there contact, weight down. You were racking yourself. You were set high center on those chairs, trying to go over.
I don't know. I stayed out too late the night before.
That's why you asked for like 5 waters.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys get those waters?
Yeah.
I'm like, I gave you a water. He goes, I already crushed it. I needed another water. Back to the Nazi rally. This is what was said by Alex Vindman. You know Vindman. He's a famous patriot of Curb Your Enthusiasm, famous patriot of outing Donald Trump on Ukraine. He tweeted out, I've resisted calling Trump and MAGA fascist, mainly because I've understood fascism and Nazism as almost incomprehensibly evil. But the reality is MAGA is today who the Nazis were before they seized power. There is no better historical comparison to MAGA than the Nazis of the early 1930s. Now, I think you can attest to this, James. Jews, blacks, Puerto Ricans, Latinos, gays, everybody at Madison Square Garden yesterday. It was the most diverse Nazi rally in the history of Nazi rallies. And by the way, they took the stage. Every single one from that representative group took the stage and had their moment to shine and had their moment to talk about, if you want, their identity and its approach to MAGA. You had multiple black Americans, from Byron Donalds to the founder of Death Row Records. You had Tony Hinchcliffe, by the way, not a straight man. You had Sid Rosenberg, Jew, who today, by the way, they're sharing a clip of him who sarcastically goes, I guess this is a Nazi rally. And they're seriously posting today, they're saying the quiet parts out loud. Like Sid Rosenberg, Jewish man, says the quiet parts out loud that it's a Nazi rally. They're beside themselves and they're insane. And they're certifiably insane. And they were set up for this insanity by Hillary Clinton, who said ahead of time that this would be reminiscent of 1939. She went and said the following. She said on CNN that she agrees with John Kelly that Trump is a fascist and knows that Trump is about to reenact the Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden of 1939. I did not see one Nazi flag. I did not see one element of white supremacy. I saw Israeli flags.
A lot of them.
I saw Israeli flags.
Speaking of guys who are trying to be the first one to start the rally, there was those two frat boys to the left of us with the Jewish flags, and it was like every 5 minutes when Trump was up, that they tried to start the Jews for Trump rally, and there's a lot of dudes there.
It's absurd to dismiss this as a white supremacist, fascist rally for Nazis. It's simply not an accurate reflection of reality. I was there. Young Establishment James was there. Laura Ingraham was there. Raymond Arroyo was there. Tammy Bruce was there. Rachel Campos Duffy was there. I know many people that can attest to first-person accounts of what this was like. And I will tell you, it was incredibly patriotic, meaning it's leaning into the songs, the symbols, and the imagery of the United States of America. It was happy. It was not anger from that stage. There was nobody angry in the audience and nobody angry on the stage. And to say that it was a parade, as I saw it said, a parade of insanity. Well, Elon Musk, the world's richest man, does that not on its own say something about the credibility behind this movement? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., one of the leading candidates from the other party running for president, Democrats, now endorsing Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard, a former presidential candidate as a Democrat, on that stage for Donald Trump. And I think in part this is why they rolled the dice to say, let's bring in Tony Hinchcliffe, because it showed the expanded reach of this movement, that it's also now even cool in pop culture. I think that was the reach to bring in Tony Hinchcliffe. It was a mistake, as you point out, Dan, on a booking, because it's not a comedy club. It's a political rally. But it was a political rally that was nothing reminiscent of 1939. And it's only comparable to Nazis if you think the same of America.